Hola from Mexico.
Hola! Hola,
Hola.
¿cómo estás? Imagine this. You're coming home with your teammates and your coach after a scrimmage. Exhausted, you fall asleep, and what seems like moments later, you wake up to the sounds of screams and of tearing metal. When you finally come to, you're either on the side of the road, in the disfigured bus, or you don't wake up at all. This was the reality of the North Central Texas College softball team in September of 2014. There was an 18-wheeler that crossed the median and had a collision with them. Sadly, 4 girls out of the 15 passed away that night. Out of all of the research that I've done, and personally knowing one of them, this crash, which quickly became national news, impacted more people than we'll ever know. This collision killed 4, injured the majority of the other girls, and impacted everybody involved for a lifetime. It's crazy that one distracted driver caused all of this. As I said before, the crash killed 4 girls on September 26, 2014. The bus, which collided with an 18-wheeler that crossed the median, flipped and rolled. 3 were pronounced dead on the scene, and 1 later in the hospital. Their names were Brooke Deckard, Jaden Pelton, Megan Richardson, and Caitlin Woodley. Their ages were 20, 19, and 18. They had their entire lives ahead of them. On a Bloomberg article post, it said Pelton was going to marry her boyfriend, Clayton Keaton. He posted on Facebook, "The Lord took the best thing that has ever happened to me when he took you." Richardson was planning on getting her degree in special education, and Deckard was getting a business degree at NCTC and was looking forward to transferring to a 4-year college. This crash also had a lot of worse injuries. As I said before, the majority of the girls on the bus were injured. Everyone was taken to the hospital, but most were treated and released for minor injuries, said a K4.com post. Kaylee Armstrong had about 40 stitches, most of which were in her left arm. Savannah Mathis, who I knew personally, was treated for minor injuries in the hospital, but later released that night. There were a couple girls who will possibly never be able to competitively play softball again. Rachel Hitt had several surgeries because of her ruptured spleen. Bailey Buchanan had life-saving surgeries and broke her pelvis, as well as tearing her LCL and ACL, which are horrific injuries for an athlete. I remember my parents walking in the first time they saw me. They simply held my hand and cried, said Buchanan during an interview. The aftermath of this affected everybody. The surviving players, their family, loved ones, their community, and even strangers have been affected by this. There's already been 2 lawsuits for the driver who was distracted and the transportation company that he was with. The parents of Brooke Deckard created one, and one was filed in reference of Rachel Hitt, who was hospitalized for several days after the accident. Everyone in the nation seemed to have been reaching out because of this. Students and friends posted on social media in devastation and in shock, and there were several candlelight vigils held. Even a stranger from Brooklyn, New York, sent a letter with a $5 bill helping to help build a memorial. All of this happened in just a blink of an eye. There were 4 girls killed, many injured, and this impacted so many people. A tragedy is defined as an event causing great suffering, destruction, and distress, and this most definitely was a tragedy. Thankfully, the NCTC softball players that survived, the families, loved ones, and everybody involved are slowly healing from this tragedy. The end.